And in the next slide, okay, so we finished segmenting. So STP, segmenting, targeting, and positioning. So now we're going to the second topic, which is targeting. So if segmenting is like slicing a big pizza pie into smaller, pieces, targeting is now where we're zeroing in on which is the best slice. Okay, so targeting, we define who the customers are, and this is very important because it increases the cost effectiveness of the ad campaign. So why do we say it's cost effective? Look at the next item. It says advertising channels have a cost. We all know that, obviously. You buy airtime or you buy space in a newspaper. But the thing is, this cost is a function of the amount of exposure. So what do we mean by exposure? The number of people who will see or hear an advertisement. So this exposure is regardless of whether audience members are potential customers or not. So for example, you're watching a TV commercial. So there are other people all over the Philippines. They're watching the same commercial. Some of them could be potential customers. Some of them might not. But regardless, the advertiser has to pay for that amount of exposure. Okay, so what targeting could do is it could help save the advertiser cost because we now know, or we can try to know, who the specific customer will be, who are the potential customers. We don't need to focus anymore on those who might not be potential customers. Okay, so I hope that's clear why targeting makes advertising, or why it helps make cost-effective advertising. And in the next slide, okay, so what can the advertiser do in targeting? Well, he can do three things. First, the advertiser could profile the segments. And how do we profile the segments? Okay, una, do they have buying power? Okay, do they have money to buy? But here's the second thing. Even if they have money to buy, what is the likelihood that they're going to buy the product? Are they actually going to buy the product even if they have money? And also, we can profile the segments according to the likelihood that they will be attracted by a potential ad. Okay, so maybe during the testing phase, they could show the ad to a test audience and see if they like the ad or if they're attracted to the ad. But the test audience would ideally or should ideally be similar to who they are planning to actually show the ad to in on a bigger scale. Good morning, Jamel. Jamel has joined us. Magandang
Good
umaga.
morning, sir.
Okay. All right. So the second thing that the advertiser can do is assess the attractiveness of each potential target. So when we speak of attractiveness here, it's not about physical attraction. It's not about whether good looking or hindi yung potential market. What we mean by attractiveness here is, would they make a good target for the ad? Okay, would they be the ideal or the potential customer? Okay, so once the advertiser's done profiling, and then once the advertiser is done assessing attractiveness, finally, because it's called targeting, finally the advertiser can select or choose the segment or segments which are both attractive and which are most likely to have a favorable, response to the advertising message. So in a nutshell, that's what that's what the advertiser can do to accomplish targeting. Okay, so we mentioned an attractive target or a good target. So what are the properties of a good target? Okay, so we have the acronym MAPD, or MAPT, for example. So first, a good target is measurable. Okay, so what does it mean? There are key variables that will help us easily identify and assess the target. How about the next one? Jamil, could you read, please?
Accessible. The target group must be reachable by advertising.
Okay, so it sounds like common sense, but sometimes people forget about accessibility. So you invest in internet ads, but your target audience don't have access to high-speed internet, which can play videos or flash. So that kind of defeats the purpose of using an online advertising strategy. Then we've got profitable. So when it's profitable, we mean the target group, they have sufficient size, there are enough people who could buy the product, they are willing to buy the product, and like we said earlier, they have the means or the money to buy the product. And then the final one is distinguishable. And let's hear from Camille again. Camille, are you there? Camille?
Distinguishable. The target group must provide a clearly differentiated segment in terms of percentage of potential customers and coherence of response to potential advertising messages.
Thank you so much, Camille. Okay. So a good target is distinguishable. It's distinct from all the other quote unquote, slices in the pizza pie. It's the slice that stands out. Or there could be two slices that you like from the pie or two segments, but again, they are also differentiated. You can distinguish them clearly from the other slices or from the other segments. Okay, so we keep using the metaphor of a pizza pie. All right, so then when we speak of targeting, one of the most common things done is behavioral targeting. And you'll understand later why behavioral targeting has become more or less the norm. Because in the past, before technology improved, before we had all of this infrastructure for the internet and computing, segments used to be that day in the past, they had to be broad because there was difficulty finding what we call fine grain data or data. Yung maliit na mga datos, pinong-pino, very refined data. We couldn't find that before in the past. So therefore, people had to settle for broad segments or broad targets. Okay? But now, look at the situation now in the 21st century. Companies can process terabytes of data on customers. And also, we have new ad channels like Google AdSense, for example, which is an example of keyword advertising on the internet. What is keyword advertising? We'll find out in another slide. So, how refined is the data that can now be used because of behavioral targeting? It can be so refined, it can be a segment of one. Okay, and this is very true. When you visit Facebook, you might be wondering, wow, the ads on Facebook are really relevant to my interests. That's not a coincidence. That is targeted marketing. They know your interests based on the previous websites you visited because there are cookies. So, ano yung cookie? Hindi po ito yung cookie na biskwit. Okay, so let's look at a definition of cookie, and we're going to use Cambridge. Okay, so you may be wondering, why is there a website, a Barbie website here? If you came late to the class, I used this earlier as an example, and you'll be able to see the explanation when you watch the video after the class. Okay, so a cookie, if you look on the left side of the video, is a piece of information stored on your computer about internet documents that you've looked at. So when we say internet documents, we can talk about HTML pages, in short, the websites you've been to. So cookies, people claim they're important in the function of certain websites, and to a certain extent, that's true. But generally, they're more used for tracking us online. Okay, so we'll go back to the slide. Okay, one moment. Okay, so we proceed to the next one. Okay, so these are the factors that fuel the accelerating trend of targeting very teeny weeny defined segments, really small segments. First, oh, by the way, who are all here? Let's have a look. Christian, Tantan is with us now. Cool. Okay, so let's ask Tan, pabasa po ng first item.
Growing volume of data on customers.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is not really a problem now for advertisers. There really are terabytes of data. And then we have, of course, the advanced computing power we have now, analytics, okay, and also the increasing specificity of advertising channels. And again, we have keyword advertising. What is keyword advertising? Let's have a look. Okay, so I think this is a very good explanation of what keyword advertising is. And this is from pcmag.com. So, Sarlene, could you read the first item?
Paying for ad placement on the results page of a web search engine.
Okay, thank you so much. So, for example, obviously the epitome of a really good search engine, Google. Okay, so what happens next is that advertisers typically bid for higher placement on their ad on the page. So when we say bid here, it's like if you want your ad to appear higher in the search results, then you would need to pay more. Okay, so ads are matched to the words being searched. For example, if I am a publisher of a computer dictionary, then the keywords I would probably choose would be computer terms, computer definitions. So whenever somebody searches on, for example, Google, computer terms or computer definitions, then what happens is that the search results will appear, the SERP or the search engine results page will appear, and depending on how much the advertiser paid, then the ad will appear. Their ad for computer dictionary will appear higher or maybe not as higher up in the search results. So that's what we mean. And then, Jomel, could you read if the user? Joms? Okay.
Wait lang, sir. Saan
Okay
po
po.
ulit?
If the user, 1, 2, 3, yung pang-apat, the fourth one.
If the user searches for these words, a text, link, or banner ad is displayed at the top or side of the search results page. Wait lang, sorry sir.
Walang
Nagkagawa rin ako
problema.
dito sa bahay.
No problem, no
Sorry
problem. You can treat the class almost like you're listening to the radio. So, walang problema.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so these ads either appeared because this book is a little old, somewhat old, because text links, banner ads. I don't know if Google still shows those now, or if they found some other less intrusive way of showing ads. Okay, so then we go to the last item. So if the user clicks the ad, the search engine charges the advertiser for the click through. So pag nag-click si website visitor, si Google searcher dun sa ad, then magbabayad si advertiser dun sa search engine. Okay, so that's what we mean by keyword advertising.